Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So, Mattel is making some K-pop Demon Hunter dolls, and I have so many feelings about this. I did have like a little mini crash out on my Instagram stories, but that was in fact not enough ranting for me. So, here I am to make a whole video about it. And ranting is certainly the correct word for at least parts of this video. So, just be prepared for me to maybe get a little bit loud, grab your popcorn if that's entertaining for you. Now, I do need to start this off with one very key piece of information here, and that's that I actually have seen this movie, okay? If you've been here before, you were probably very used to me saying, like, the Skelectors are just a very easy example, that I don't know the movie, and so I don't really fully know what I'm talking about whenever I, like, make dedicated videos about those dolls. And I am like, I disclaim it so that people are aware that, like, hey, this is coming from the perspective of someone who like isn't a fan. But yeah, I don't see a lot of media. That's just how I am. And so you're probably very used to me being like, yeah, I haven't seen this. Let's talk about it from an outside perspective. Not today. Today is an inside perspective. I saw the movie. I did really, really like it. I think the soundtrack is fabulous. My only complaint, honestly, is that I wish it had been longer. I could have used more. Like, I wanted to know more about more of the characters, and I just wanted to get to see more screen time of them. I do know we're supposed to be getting a sequel at some point in the future, which is it's both scary and exciting. But this isn't supposed to be about the movie. I'm just saying this time I actually do have context, and so maybe that's why I'm a little bit more amped up, because it's not like a, oh, I don't know anything about this film. These dolls are kind of, I don't know. I like the film. I've seen the film. I like care about this. So we got some more feelings in here. That being said, they are just my feelings. You're absolutely free to disagree with me. It's not like a big deal. They are ultimately just dolls. But just please be polite about that if you want to express it in the comments down below. But as per usual with this type of video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at like the boring little details before we actually start looking at the dolls. So also, I don't really think I like need a spoiler warning, technically speaking. I'm not going to be talking about like the plot really, but there are some things visually that are like from the end of the movie. So I guess that's the spoiler warning, okay? Like, that's where we're at. You decide what's best for you. So the pack that is coming out is going to be a Huntrix pack. So all three of the girls, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, in their like what it sounds like sort of finale outfits. It is going to be exclusive to Mattel Creations, so you cannot get this anywhere else, which I do already hate, just because I just don't like exclusivity. I think it's a stupid concept. Like, I just don't love that inherently. But also, Mattel Creations doesn't offer free shipping no matter how much you spend with them, and I think that that's just like, that is such a big pet peeve of mine. I hate that. I hate that so much. But it is what it is. It's a Mattel Creations exclusive. They're going to come up for pre-order November 12th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As of right now, I don't believe that we have any information on how many of these are being made. I don't think that it is a made to order, but I could be wrong on that. Like, I don't know if this is in fact a limited quantity or if they're like making to fulfill the orders. I'm not 100% sure. If you know better, please let me know in the comments down below. They are making it a limit of 3 per customer. And however many you order, it's going to be a long wait because they're set to ship by October of next year. So there's that. There is one key piece of information here that I am withholding for you or from you just for a second here. If you've been paying attention to the dolls, you likely already know how much they cost, but we're not going to talk about it yet. Heavy on the yet. We will absolutely get there. The other important thing to know about these dolls before I start showing you pictures of them is, okay, slight tangent here. I am so fascinated by how poorly this movie was handled by Netflix, just because like I don't know why, like, looking at the whole concept, like, K-pop is very popular, like, the Demon Hunters, it's an animated film, like, it has all the ingredients to be really good, and it is really good, but apparently Netflix, like, okay, I should say allegedly, I don't know, just in case. I don't know if this is what happened, but it feels like they didn't have faith in their work because there's, like, no ready merch, right? Like, it wasn't like the movie came out and they were like, "Hey, by the way, the dolls are gonna be here in 2 weeks," or anything like that, like They're just so behind in terms of like dealing with the intense love that this movie has garnered. And I just think it's incredibly fascinating. But a side effect of that is that Mattel, like, just recently, within like the last, I want to say the last month, certainly within the last 2 months, got the rights. I think maybe with Hasbro. I should have double checked this. I'm really sorry. But Mattel is what we're focusing on today, to produce toys. Okay. They only like just announced that they were going to be producing toys for K-pop Demon Hunters. So these dolls, the images that I show you rather, certainly were made in what I would say is something of a rush. And that's why we're not getting them until October 2026, is because it's not like these have been in the pipeline for ages. This is like a new development, which is just so, again, so crazy that that's how Netflix handled K-pop Demon Hunters. Like the fact that they weren't reaching out beforehand. I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy, but that's just the situation that we're in. I say all that because these images are partially rendered. They are not like photos of actual dolls. The actual dolls with all of their accoutrement do not exist yet. I'm pretty sure that the faces that we're seeing are like some sort of hand painted prototype, or possibly like a stamped prototype or something like that. I think that the faces are real, is basically what I'm getting at. Like, I do believe that the faces of these dolls are as they're supposed to come, but I'm not 100% sure on that either, because it's not like Mattel has gone in and been like, hey, this is the part that's rendered and this is the part that's real or anything like that. I think the bodies are real too. Like, I think these are just base bodies that they already had lying around. Who actually knows, realistically speaking? Since they're advertising them on these bodies, I would say that probably these are the bodies that we should expect, but at the very least, certainly the clothing has been rendered on. So please bear that in mind as I talk about these dolls. So here's the first little picture for you. It's maybe a little blurry. Sorry, I'm just working with what I got here. But this is like the group shot of all three girls. Obviously, we are going to go ahead and like go more into detail on all of them. The really main thing that I want to pinpoint here is that it does look like they have a decent amount of articulation. Again, assuming that these are in fact the bodies that they use, which I think that would be crazy for them to use these bodies in the promo pictures and then not give us these bodies. Like, I don't know, that just seems a little bit wild, but you never know with Mattel. Assuming that we end up getting these bodies, that means that we're going to be getting knee articulation, hip articulation of some sort. I don't know exactly like what to what degree. Like, I don't know how far they'll bend, but some degree of hip articulation, wrist, elbow, and shoulder articulation, and head articulation, which is nice. Like, I'm glad to see that, especially for these dolls that are technically on a collector level. I don't even think I've said that yet. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place because I'm really trying to like stay as calm as possible for now. But these are like collector dolls. So especially for collector dolls, I'm very glad that we're getting the articulation on the fighting dancing group of girls. Also, a tiny editing note, the description on Mattel Creations does specify 3 different heights for these dolls. So, regardless of what bodies end up happening, that's like in print, like that feels pretty firm. So, it looks like they are actually going to make them different heights like they are in the movie, which is nice. To go ahead and look at them a little bit more in depth, we can start off with Rumi here. Looking at the full body image, immediately I'm like, the hair is too short. It just is. It's just too short. And like, I would say that's a nitpick, but again, you have to keep in mind, I haven't told you the price. If you know the price, you get it. But if you don't know the price, believe me, I'm justified. The braid, like canonically to the movie, should be longer. That shit is very near floor length, if not floor length. Like, this needs to be longer. I don't know if it's going to be longer in the final. I don't know, because I do. I don't know, I'm 50-50. Okay, I'm not necessarily the best at telling this stuff. I don't know if the hair's real or if the hair's rendered, okay? So we don't know for sure. I really hope it's a little longer in the actual one, because like, it's just bothersome on a collector level doll to like not get the floor length hair, like, come on, give me the hair. To go ahead and like zoom in on Rumi though, I do think the face looks really, really good. I think the face on all of these girls is at least good. Rumi is, I think, my second favorite face. Overall, I guess maybe this is pertinent. I don't know. I think I relate to Rumi most. I do have a soft spot for Mira, though. Zoe's very cute. Like, I don't dislike her, but she is, if I have to pick a least favorite out of the three, my least favorite out of the three. Um, anyway, though, sorry. I do think Rumi's face looks really good. I like her sort of uneven, like, little smirky smile there. I think it's fun that she's actually got some expression on her face. That's super nice. You can also see that at least in this half rendered image, she's got a few different shades of purple in her hair. So again, I'm really hoping that that ends up being the case. We can start to see here the quote unquote clothing details. We'll go ahead and just look a little bit more at this. This is the part where it's such a big question mark and it's a little bit infuriating because I don't know how much of this is going to be detailed. I don't know how much of this is going to be printed on, if there's any that's going to be like proper, like sewn on. Like, I don't know if these lines of detail, like that would be seams in an actual garment on her shirt, are going to be seams or if they're just going to be printed on. I don't know if her belt is going to be this insanely shitty plastic or if it's going to be kind of nice. Dare I even like, I'm not even going to dare to hope for real chains. That was silly of me. But like, we don't know what the quality is going to be like, which is frightening and frustrating and just really what are we doing here. She does have her patterns all over, which I think is really, really cool, and they're like this interesting like shimmery color that again I can only hope last to the final product. And then moving on down, we can see her shoes as well as her sword. And again, I'm just going to end up repeating myself. Basically, I really, really hope that these end up looking like this. I do think that the shoes, with the amount of painted detail that they have, look good. I think that her sword looks good. Like, it's not that I think this part looks bad, but I'm scared. Oh my goodness. Okay, then looking at Mira, I think Mira is my favorite doll-wise. I'm going to stop saying again, assuming it comes out this way. Y'all just have to know that everything that I'm saying that's positive, take it with a grain of salt because it might turn out like shit. So, here's Mira. She is, like I said, I think my favorite visually. Like, I just think she looks really, really cool. Her face sculpt, apparently some people are like, oh, this is really over-exaggerated and bad. She looks like, to me, identical to how she looks on screen. Like, it's exaggerated maybe a little bit if you're comparing it to like a person's face. You know, maybe it's like a little bit more extreme than most people's faces are, but it's from a cartoon. And I think the cartoon to this, it's like so, so good to me. Again, we have like sort of a like resting bitch face expression is the only way that I can really put it, which I like. Like, I like that because that is, again, part of Mira's personality. Like, that's how she is. She's not walking around all sunshine and smiles all the time. So I like that in this, we're not getting just like a super smiley, happy doll. I love smiley, happy dolls. Wouldn't fit Mira. So I really, really do appreciate that. I think they did a much better job with her hair in terms of like accuracy and everything. But again, we have like these huge question marks because for her, it to me looks like this jacket is rendered as a separate layer. It looks like it is like rendered as showing separate like actual fabric tassels. But will it have that? We don't know. They literally could give us a jacket shirt combo that's all one piece and just like printed to mimic layers. We don't know what they're going to give us. Do I genuinely think they're going to do that on a collector level doll? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to go that bad, but it is just frustrating to not know like if the jacket's going to feel like paper or if it's going to feel really nice, you know? I just God, I hate when they do this. Anyway, sorry. Her skirt and her belt, I will say, I think look extremely questionable to me. That like sort of bow situation too. I have no idea what is going on there. Very curious to see how it'll turn out in the final. You can see more detail on her jacket in this image, like the sleeves and everything. And I'm just a broken record. I hope it looks nice in person. I actually hope in person maybe it's a little bit more shimmery because it just looks kind of awkward here. I don't know. Her boots, I think, look perfectly fine. And then they don't really show like a super, super close up of her weapon, but I really like, I love how big it is. Like, I like that they didn't shrink it down, because we see that sometimes with weapons and like honestly just other accessories in general when it comes to dolls, especially on a playline level. I know this is collector, but like, you know what I'm saying. We'll see like some things get shrunken down to be more cost effective and everything like that, or like to fit in smaller packaging. I really, really like that it seems as though we're going to get a really big weapon for her. Like, I just think that that's quite nice. And then when it comes to Zoe, this is her overall look, kind of the same feelings. I do think that, like, the outfit rendered seems rather screen accurate. I think that her hair and everything is good. If we zoom in though, I will say that I just don't think her face is quite right. I think that it would have been cool to get like a wider smiling sculpt because for Zoe that would be perfectly appropriate. Like I think I'm maybe a little bit sad that we don't have a hint of teeth in there, but mostly it's the eyes. Like something about the eyes just I don't know. She feels less expressive than the other two somehow, and she's arguably the most expressive one in the group, so I think that's what's throwing me off, like, it just doesn't quite feel right. I certainly don't think that she's ugly, and I think her freckles are very, very cute. But yeah, that's just sort of the question there. It is really interesting because in this image, you can actually see that, like, the render of her shirt appears to almost have ribbing on it. Is that gonna be present? Who knows? Not me. Probably not even Mattel at this point. It's crazy. We don't have a better image of her outfit, but we can see her shoes, which I believe are the same as Mira's. No, hold on. Did I just save the same image twice? I did. That was my bad. Sorry. They're different than Mira's. Don't worry. I thought I had just noticed that and I was like, we can't talk. Let me pull up the right image. Okay, apparently I'm just a disaster because not only did I find the proper image for her shoes, but also the rest of her outfit, like another detail shot. So I'm sorry. I am like a little more high energy, a little bit flustered about this one. Yeah, I mean, the detail image of her clothing, honestly, I think it's kind of fascinating that they're even bothering to do this because like this isn't clothes. This is rendered. So what even is the point actually of showing the details? Because they're not real details. I don't know. Anyway, her boots are sort of like a midpoint between Rumi's super high boots and then Mira's more like ankle boots. So they're sort of mid calf, a little bit of a combat style there. Again, it looks like there's some nice painted detail on here that I really hope shines through because I would love to get to have that. So all in all, they look pretty solid. Ooh, her weapons, her little, I think they're throwing knives. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like I'm obviously not the most educated on this. Even though I watched the movie, like I'm still not necessarily super familiar with everything. But her little throwing knives, it's hard because I do think it would have been cute to have like a bunch of separate ones, but also that would have been a lot harder to, get the doll to hold it in her hand. So I do understand why it appears that it's going to be like three sort of connected ones. Again, appears. You know what I'm saying? But that is finally all of the images to take a look at. So, bearing in mind the details that they did choose to share, like on Mira's outfit, very intentionally making it look like the shirt and jacket are separate, very intentionally making it look like the tassels are like fabric tassels on her little epaulets. Is that the right word situation going on there? Adding these not like the patterns on Rumi too, but adding these patterns on the jacket, the same that we saw on Zoe's outfit that look like they would be like an iridescent overlay on top of that. We're seeing all these things, so that makes me inclined to believe that they would deliver on them, but also do I have faith in Mattel? I don't really know, because I'm sitting here thinking it's a choice to render it that way. But just because they made that choice doesn't mean that they'll make that same choice when it comes to actually making the dolls, or that something just won't change along the way. And there are also things that are rendered that I don't think look that great. Like Rumi's sort of like zip on her shirt, that is printed on fully, like quote unquote printed on in the render. Like it doesn't look 3D at all. So does that mean that it's not going to be 3D? Because quite frankly, I think it should be for the price that we're looking at. Like the skirts and everything look maybe a little bit cheapy in the rendering, and I think that they shouldn't look that way for the price that we are talking about, which I guess I can finally share with you guys. This 3-pack is going to be 150 US dollars. That, of course, does mean that if you're anywhere outside the US, it's going to be a little bit more. I don't think I've ever seen an international price be less than the US price. So there's that. And we have to add on, as I mentioned before, Mattel Creations does not offer free shipping ever. Like, they just don't have free shipping. It doesn't matter if you spend a certain amount, if you have memberships, whatever, you're paying for shipping. So then you have to pay for shipping on top of the minimum $150. Depending on where you live, you also have to pay taxes, which means that these dolls, like the genuine cheapest I can feasibly imagine someone buying these dolls for, is 160 US dollars, like $10 shipping. And like, if you, I think there are a couple of states that don't have taxes that apply to it. That's like the literal cheapest that these dolls could be, which is fucking crazy. $160 for 3 dolls. Bearing in mind everything else that we've talked about, we do not know what the quality of these dolls is going to look like. We have no idea what hair fiber they're going to have. Technically speaking, we have no idea if their faces are going to be pixelated. I don't believe that they are, because again, it's a personal theory. I think the faces are real, and I think it would be, I think even Mattel isn't stupid enough. Because here are some collector dolls, here are like the prototypes, and then give us pixelated faces. Like, I don't think they would do that. But also, who knows? So that could happen. Technically speaking, the bodies could change. They could be printed on basically paper, fabric. Did I say that already? I don't even know, because I'm starting to get heated. We also have no idea at all what the box looks like. There are no box mock-ups. There are no images of any potential box on Mattel Creations or like floating around anywhere else. So anyone who's an in-box collector has no idea if this is even worth buying for them, because the box could be cheap and ugly and plain. Like, hello, and like, I'm an out-of-box collector. I don't really care if the box is cheap and ugly and plain, except for the fact that these are, again, 150 fucking dolls. So I'm like, is some of that budget going to the box? But like, I don't know. I just, even if it is, like, how much budget really needs to be allocated to the box? Like, how much are you really spending on that? And also, I just think of the people who are out of box collectors. Like, this must be so hard to decide if you want to get these dolls. So basically, they're like, hey, here are these dolls that aren't even really dolls. They're like at least 50% renders. We're not going to show you what the box looks like, but we would like you to give us $150 so that in a year you can find out if we delivered something good or if we're giving you actual fucking garbage. And that's just like so, that's so insane to me. That's so crazy to me that Mattel is asking this. And you know what the worst part is? I'm still going to buy them. Because here's my thing, okay? Here's my thing. I know that there are like supposed to be Playline dolls at some point. You know, like the little announcement that they made was like, oh yeah, we're going to be making toys including blah, 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 blah. Like, there are more K-pop Demon Hunter things coming from Mattel, okay? I understand that. I've seen a lot of people be like, oh yeah, this is insane. Like, rightfully so. They're out of their damn minds with this $150 3-pack, which also, sorry, I'm like, that's $50 per doll. Oh my God, for that, for what we saw, like, if they come out exactly like that, that's like realistically G3 Monster High. What the fuck is going on? $50 for each doll. I know there's licensing, but Jesus Christ, it cannot be that bad. Anyway, sorry. So I have seen a lot of people expressing that sentiment and being like, you, Mattel, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to pay all this money for these dolls that definitely do not look like they're going to come out like collector dolls. But more importantly, I'm not going to pay all this money for dolls that we have no idea how they're going to turn out. But the problem that I have with that is that we're seeing what they're roughly planning to deliver for a collector doll. And like I literally just said, it's pretty much equivalent, like if they come out exactly like that, to a G3 Monster High doll, which is between $20 and $30 retail. These are $50 each, but you can't buy them separately, so they're $150 plus all the tax and shipping and everything. If that's what they're giving us for their collector dolls, I truly am not trying to frighten anybody when I say this, but my brain immediately goes, their Playline dolls are gonna look like shit. Like, I think it was Mulan that I found a picture of, like, just I pulled a picture of a Playline Mulan doll from Mattel, and I don't think it's far-fetched to say that I think this is what their K-pop Demon Hunter Playline dolls might look like, just based off of the very limited information we have that is about their collector dolls. This Mulan doll does have some articulation, but she's like all plastic and very, very, very short hair. Like I know Mulan doesn't have like insane flowing locks for all of the movie, but it's very, very short hair. I would not at all be surprised to find that we get this sort of thing that is really like towing that line of like action figure and doll, where it's like mostly plastic, very, very clear budget cuts. Like, I feel like this is what they're gonna make for their Playline Huntrix dolls. I could be wrong. I hope to God that I'm wrong, but I might be right. And because of the fact that this is a pre-order and that it's not gonna ship for a year, we just like don't know. We have no information either on when Playline dolls might be coming out. We obviously have no images of any Playline dolls that might be coming out. Like, there's just such a lack of information, and so because of that, my thing is like, it is insane of me to spend this money. Okay, I fully recognize that. It's not like I'm proud of it. It's not like it's a, oh, I'm so happy about this purchase sort of thing. But I do want K-pop Demon Hunter dolls. And I just like am looking at myself and my own like energy levels, especially lately. I've just been so low energy lately. And I have 1,002 projects that I want to get done. I know I do not have it in me to make custom K-pop Demon Hunter dolls. If you do, fabulous. I've seen a lot of them. People are so insanely talented. They definitely make things that are better than Mattel will ever give us. So like, more power to you if you want to do that and are doing that, or like are capable of that. That's fabulous. I just know it's not really a realistic option for me. And so it's like, okay, do I want to skip on these dolls and risk the Playline dolls being terrible? Or do I want to get these dolls that also might be terrible and just know that there might be cheaper options that like would have been better? And ultimately speaking, I talked about it with my husband. And the thing is I would rather buy them and then regret that I spent so much money on them, because the Playline dolls are like really pretty good too. And so I could like also get those, or like, oh, I could have gotten those instead. I just think that that's a better regret than not getting these and having it turn out that the Playline dolls are all absolutely ass, because then I just won't have any K-pop Demon Hunter dolls. So it's like, I need to be so clear. I'm not endorsing this. I'm not saying that this is like a good call, but it is just one of those things where I'm like, I guess this is where my doll budget is going, because for me, it's not worth the risk, because I just genuinely have no faith that Mattel is going to deliver something that is equitable to this level. Like, if they're charging $150 for these three dolls, I just truly don't think that any Playline doll they make that's around the $20 price point is going to be even close to comparable. Like, I don't think it's going to be as articulated. I think that's a lot more likely to get pixelated screenings and really shitty clothes. And I'm just not willing to risk it. So most unhappily, I'll be purchasing these. But I'm just so enraged at this. Like, I know it's not, in a way, it's not entirely Mattel's fault, because again, Netflix was on some shit, just not getting a license, like not getting a toy deal for these, like this brand that they're, so, oh my God, okay. I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to form sentences. Netflix is crazy for not seeking out these contracts in advance and having these things lined up so that Mattel had any time to actually get something in development. Like, I do recognize that. Like, I recognize that Mattel is on somewhat of a crunch here, because I'm sure that Netflix is like, holy shit, everyone loves this movie. Like, Halloween just, recently happened. I know tons of kids went, and tons of adults too, as characters from K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, I'm sure Mattel is breathing, or I'm sure Netflix is breathing down Mattel's neck, being like, we need these dolls and like these other associated toys as soon as possible. We need this like yesterday. So I recognize that they are like under a lot of pressure, but I think that that's just one of those things where, like, in an ideal world, Netflix would just own up to the fact that they fucked up not getting this lined up sooner, and it's just going to have to take some time. And I think it would have been better if Mattel had waited until they at least, like, even if it's not the full final product at least had a full physical prototype with like a prototype of all the clothes and everything. So they could still say, hey, this is a prototype. Things might change a little bit, but it would give you such a better idea on the quality that you might be able to expect for these dolls. And also, the dolls might come out like not a year from when you purchase them. We might have more in that world. You might have more of a concept of, oh, this is what the collector dolls look like, but we also just got these leaks for the Playline dolls, so we can sort of compare and figure out what's the best for us to buy. And we don't get any of that. And basically, the consumer is just getting like wildly fucked over by this whole situation. And I think it's stupid and awful. So while I'm extremely excited about like the prospect of K-pop Demon Hunter dolls, and I do think there are things on the dolls that look good, like again, namely the faces. I think these faces look so nice, and Mattel is pretty notorious for doing really good face sculpts. So I'm like feeling excited about that. I just think the way this whole thing was handled was just done so poorly, and I don't blame anybody for skipping on these dolls because like frankly that's like the saner decision. I'm just a little bit crazy. So in a year I'll let you know what the quality is like. I'll let you know if it was worth it or if I wasted my money. So stick around, check back. But I think that's everything. I think, we took a deep breath and we reined it in. I'm dying to know y'all's opinions on these dolls in the comments down below. Let me know if you plan on getting them. They're going to be out in like just a couple of days. Like it's not far from now. So let me know what your thoughts are. And like, if you're planning to get them, if you think that it's absolutely stupid, you're real for that one. I'm just super curious because like, it's interesting to see the intensity of the community pushback against these dolls. Again, rightfully so. I'm not critiquing anyone. I'm also pissed about this shit. It's like interesting to see though the amount of community pushback. So I'm curious to see how many people actually end up getting the dolls. Like how many people are sort of like me, where it's like you sort of know that you're being fucked over, but you're gonna play the game anyway. Oh, I'm a bad example. But yeah, that's all of my thoughts. Thank you for listening to my slightly unhinged ramblings today. I hope it was fun for you. Like at the very least, I'm sure me getting a little upset is like probably causing a little giggle. I hope that's the case. But that's gonna be it for me for today, y'all. I do hope that you enjoyed. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys.